Hi guys, and welcome to the first commented video here on SimDrifting channel. I'm Martino Cesarato, and I'd like to show you how the various sims are in regard to drifting. I'm starting here with rFactor2. I'm driving a BMW M5. It's a quite nice mod, I think a bit dated, but it still drifts in a very nice way. I'm an engineer, and I'd like to talk also about the differences in how the various sims handle the physics. Drifting, I think, is one of the best ways to show those edge cases where the sims are all quite different. For normal driving, I think pretty much all the sims we have do quite a decent job. So the main difference is how they handle understeer and oversteer, and the edge cases when the tires have not full grip but they're starting to slip. They have some slip angle. Like rFactor2 handles this, I think, almost as the best sims with drifting. Not the best driver there, obviously. By the way, I'm driving on a SimDrifting 2 Sports. Quite a good wheel, actually. I know many people review just the Pro and the Ultimate or the Panacake Podium series, but I think the SimDrifting Sports offer a great value. You won't necessarily need more torque than this. You can easily drift any car. You have fast rotation of the wheel, and that's what you need. You don't actually need anything else. I'm still understeering a bit. I have to take some more confidence with the car. I also got no handbrake, so I just have to transfer the weight. Understeer past the corner. I'm talking too much and driving too little. Fast again. This car is just too easy to throw into the turns. I just love it. I think there is no other sim where you can do this so easily. rFactor2 just communicates everything to the wheel. You just know where you have to throw the car and how much grip you have on the front. I think many games are too complicated force feedback systems, when the best way to have a good force feedback is just to take force at the wheels as soon as you get a nice tire model, which I think not all the sims have. I mean, their models are good, the grip is right, but the simple fact that some sims can provide a good force feedback out of the physics means some of the forces of the wheel are not totally realistic, or at least don't feel totally realistic. The models are quite complicated, actually. I had to go with the brushster model for a bike during my university, and I mean, just doing a simple brushster model with a single point of contact is quite complicated. That's the same tire model that Need for Speed Shift uses. The one from which also the Zeta derives, the one used by MS2 and Project Cars 2. Zeta tire model takes some more things into the calculations, but basically it's quite similar to a brush tire model, where you have some little brushes of tire that have a contact with the tarmac and a force that deforms them. Depending on how deformed they are, they'll have a spring effect. I mean, the deforming creates a force opposing it, and that force is what then moves the car and gets to your wheel through force feedback. The problem is if the point of contact is just below where your steering arm is, you want not where your steering arm, where your center of the wheel is, you won't actually get any force, because a single point of contact, if it just creates a directional force, that force has no arm to create rotational force, so you won't feel actually anything through the wheel. So to get some force feedback, you have to also generate some rotational forces, and those are not generated by a simple brush tire model with a single point of contact, unless you move that point of contact. But if you move it, it won't be in the point of the wheel that's actually touching the tarmac. So you have to generate some fake force feedback effects or some workaround that takes some force feedback from the physics by using a point of contact that's not the one you'd actually want to use. That's unless you use more than one point of contact in the wheel. That's why ACC now use 5 instead of 1 that's used in AC. Now, enough talking about physics, let's talk a bit about how drifting feels here. This car is a bit understeer if you bring too much speed into the corner, but then as soon as you get it into the corner, you just slam on the throttle and it drifts. It's fantastic. A lot of torque in the engine. Got this in the wrong gear. Second gear, it just didn't have enough wheel speed to drift. Let's see if I can do a good lap. Not riding fast, understeering. Increase a bit the angle. Slow this time. Let's see if you can do this one. Ooh. Yeah. Finally some nice drifts. You should really try this car if you don't have it. I don't remember if it's actually on the workshop or you have to search for it a bit, but really worth having. A road car is not modified drift, but I find it almost better than some of the drift cars you can find for rFactor. Those are just power monsters this one is just fun without being too extreme. Very soft suspension, so you can always save it if you get something wrong. And so we talk about her models. I'm not actually sure about how rFactor2 handles its one. I think it does an offline simulation of the tire, and then it just creates some values as a lookup table and use those in the real-time simulation, maybe coupled with a real-time tire deformation. I don't think that one is table-based, let's say. I think it mixes a dynamic carcass simulation where the tire deforms in all directions, and then based on that it determines the contact patch. That's the part of the tire that makes actual contact with the asphalt, so the only part we care about when calculating grip. After calculating how big the contact patch is, you can then estimate the pressure that you have on it based on how much of the weight of the car is actually on that tire, also based on eventual aero forces and other things. And once you have both the area and the load, you can estimate how much grip it's making. I don't know how many kind of contacts it uses, but I'm not even sure it uses points of contact or just goes another way. I think the thing that rFactor2 does better than any other sim is mostly the slow speed and how grippy the tire actually feels. I mean, most simulations are quite good when the tire has full grip. Then it starts having some slip angle because you cannot not have it. And most their models starts falling apart. I mean, ACC, I think without ABS and traction control is actually quite bad, because as soon as the car starts slipping, the tire that slips overheats and it starts making no grip, actually, really no grip, and the car becomes impossible to recover. You can see, after drifting a lot, rFactor2 also overheats rear tires and I cannot drift anymore, but ACC does the same during a single turn. It has a very reactive surface temperature model. I think it's quite realistic. I mean, Project Cars uses something very close to this, and it's one of the reasons its feel is quite organic compared to most sims, but I think ACC exaggerates it quite too much. Just making a mistake mid-turn can pack your car. I'm not sure this is realistic. ABS NTC makes it so it doesn't happen, because you cannot lock tires, you cannot spin tires, so most of the time they are at the right temperature, but when you deactivate them you really notice how strange is the feel mid-turn when you make some mistake. I think this video is getting quite long, so I'll finish this lap, and I think we'll see again. No, mistake. We'll see each other again at the next video. I think it will be BMW M5. I recently discovered that sim and I find it just beautiful. One of my go-to sims when I want to have fun. I'll do a series of drifting videos in all the sims, commenting about physics and whatever. And then maybe I'll start trying some more cars in any sim. I don't want to show more cars right now because the video is already long. For gear was too much. I mean, overrated tires, but not overrated enough to sleep in fourth gear. And here we are. See you next time. Bye.